How's it going, YouTube? So today I'm going to be working on part 2 of building the backhand series. As you can see, I am indoors. That's because doing field work in the cold and on wet fields kind of sucks, and I'm tired of it. So in order to keep my practice going, I figured out how to cram my throwing net into my basement. It just barely fits with the ceilings in here. And so I'm going to be doing some network and talking to you guys a little bit about why network is important and how to actually get better at disc golf. So in my personal opinion, a net is one of the most important things you could own if you're trying to get better at disc golf. A lot of people say field work is the number one thing, and I think field work is very important as well, but field work and network are two different things. See, when you go out into the field, you have feedback on the throws that you're doing. You get to actually see the disc fly, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing if you're making a form change with the intent of trying to see a certain shot shape fly a different way, but if you're just trying to work on your form, you really don't want that feedback, because when you first make a form change, your throws are probably going to be bad. And until you develop the muscle memory around that form change, you're not going to be able to work it into a consistent throw. So with the net, you have no feedback as to how that disc flew. You just get reps, reps, reps. And that's really the most important thing when you're trying to implement a new form change. The number one most important thing in disc golf is muscle memory. You need to be able to trust in your form, and you need to be able to repeat it over and over again without thinking about it. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to get a ton of reps. So the most efficient way to get a ton of reps is just to get yourself a net and just throw into it every day. But just throwing randomly isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to be doing focused practice on one thing. You need to pick one thing in your form that you need to work on, and you need to rep that one thing over and over again until the correct way to do that one thing becomes your muscle memory. And the easiest way to do that is to get yourself a phone tripod, set up your phone. Pretty much everybody's smartphone can record video in slow motion, and just record slow motion footage of yourself throwing, and then compare it to pros and see what they're doing and what you're not doing, and pick something to fix, and then work on it. Rinse and repeat. Record it, look at it, see what you're doing, fix it again maybe, and then once you finally got it, just reps over and over again until that thing is the only way you can do it. You can't do it any other way, because that's your muscle memory now. Now, picking out a pro player to mimic isn't as simple as just going and picking the pro that throws the farthest. I know everybody wants to throw like Eagle, like Simon, like Drew Gibson, like Anthony Barella, all these guys that throw a mile, but you might not have the same body type as them, and if you don't, then you shouldn't expect to be able to throw like them. I know for me, I'm 5'8", and Eagle McMahon, he's 6 foot something, Simon Lizotte's 6 foot something, AB's 6.5 feet tall. Their bodies are built different than mine. They're tall and lanky. They're capable of different things in their form that I might not be able to do. So I think it's important when you're working on your form that you pick a pro that has a similar stature to you, because whatever they can do, you're probably going to be able to do it as well. So for me, I like to pick pros that are a little bit closer to my height and try to mimic their form. And one guy in particular who I've been focusing on recently is Mason Ford. Mason Ford is, I think, my height. He might even be a little bit shorter than me, and he's got some of the smoothest form in the game, and he throws the disc a mile despite being a shorter guy. So I think that since he's built like me, if he's able to throw that way, I should be able to do that as well. So literally, it's as easy as just pull out your phone, go on Instagram, search up your favorite player, and I'm sure they're going to have a video on their Instagram of them throwing the disc. For Mason Ford, he just posted this video the other day, and it's some of the smoothest form you'll ever see. And one of the things in this video that I took note of right away, that I've been trying to work on myself, is my footwork. If you compare his footwork to now my footwork, which I'm going to put up a video of here, you can see that my footwork is pretty choppy. It's not smooth. Like, it's like I take like these stuttery steps, and when I step with my plant foot, it comes out like way in front of me instead of in line with my feet. So compared to Mason Ford's feet, how his feet just come together in a straight line, just 1, 2, 3 steps in a line. I want to try to mimic that. I think that's going to be a smoother transfer of power for me. It's going to be better balance, and it's going to be the proper base to set up everything else in my form. So that's going to be the focus point of this net session today. So I've got with me just a stack of 5 drivers. They're no mold in particular. They're all actually 5 different molds, but just 5 drivers, and I'm just going to get a couple warm-up reps throwing into the net, just throwing how I think feels good to throw right now. I've got my phone over to the side here recording the slow-mo so we can watch it back after, and I'm just going to see what it is that I'm doing right now. So these are just going to be slow, controlled reps, not trying to put a whole lot of power into it, just what I would do on a smooth shot right now without thinking about any one thing in particular. So that was 5 throws, so let's watch that back and see what we're looking like. So watching that back, I'm going to put it up on the screen next to me here. Watching this back, let's look at the first one. So the first 2 steps are good, but then you can see that I kind of like bring my toes like way pointed back and I step out in front of me, and it looks really awkward. Like it just doesn't look like it's good balance, good power transfer with that throw. Let's look at the second one. Yeah, see, same thing. Like I step way out in front of me and I like lift my leg really high and then come down like super pointed with my toes. It's just that's not something you're going to see any pro do ever. They're always going to have like this smooth, the smooth motion forward with their 3 steps of their X step, that the motion just transfers. It just transfers momentum properly. So just looking at these throws, I'm really not happy with that. I really want to fix that plant step. And so that's what I'm going to focus on for this next set. I'm going to do 10 reps on the next set, and I'm going to focus on that plant step entirely. So I'm going to do 10 reps on this next one. I'll just throw the 5 discs and then I'll pick them up and throw them again. And the only thing that I am concerned about on this set is my plant foot. I'm literally going to look at my feet while I'm throwing because that is the only thing I care about in this. I'm not worried about any other part of the motion. I'm not worried about my reach back, my off arm. I'm trying to work on my footwork, and that's what makes good practice, is focused practice. You pick one thing to practice and that's what you practice. And so right now I'm not happy with my footwork. In my opinion, the footwork is the foundation of the entire movement, so if your footwork is not right, you should fix that first. So I am only going to focus on that plant foot until that plant foot looks good. So 10 in a row, literally looking at my feet as I do it, trying to perfect that footwork. Like that. Alright, so let's watch these back. Those felt really weird, and I felt really off balance, but also it might have just been because I was looking at my feet, and so maybe my balance wasn't good because I was looking at my feet, but I was really just trying to focus on having the footwork look right. Here, let's look at this first one. 1, 2... Yeah, see, that looks a little bit better. I still kind of did that weird, like, it's like I'm tentative to put my plant foot down. Like, I need to just find a weight balance there that I can just smoothly transfer through that. Let's see, let's look at this one. That one looked alright, but again, like, looking at right there, it's like I'm pointing my foot, like I need to get to where you can see my feet. I'm like pointing my foot like this, and I don't know why I'm doing that. I just need to just come straight through, and maybe my center of gravity is off, and my body's not letting me do that. But this is where the real versus feel part comes in. I feel like I'm doing it, but clearly I am doing the exact same thing I was doing before. So let's get another set and see if I can really focus in on it and correct it. Alright, so like taking a look at these, if we look at the footwork right there, we can see that it is better. My weight transfer still looks weird. It still looks like I don't feel comfortable in that. And I don't know what exactly I need to do to work on that. It might be bending my knees a little bit more or changing how my upper body is sitting. But the footwork itself is getting better, which is the one thing that I'm trying to focus on here. So the point that I'm making with this is that it takes a lot of reps to create new muscle memory. I just did 20 reps there plus some warm-ups, and I still can't do exactly the thing that I'm trying to do. And after this video is over, I'm going to sit here and do a bunch more reps and see if I can get it. So the point that I'm making is that you need to practice often, and you need to do focused practice if you really want to get better at disc golf, because muscle memory is hard to break, it's hard to change, and you just have to put a lot of effort into trying to do that. So the big thing then is, after doing all these reps in the net, not to forget the things that you just practiced when you go out and play practice rounds. You need to play practice rounds that are by yourself with nothing on the line, where you can just focus on the form changes that you just made. It's hard enough to change muscle memory here on the net, and the last thing you want to do is go throw a bunch playing with your buddies or playing a tournament or whatever and lose all of that when you can't really focus on it. So taking the proper steps of throwing into the net, throwing in the field, then doing practice rounds, and then going and playing a tournament to make sure you solidify that muscle memory is super important. But besides that, that's all I really had to say for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.